What is happening, everybody? I want to make sure my mic is working currently. Let's make sure that we have our mic working. Okay, we are good there. What's up, everybody? KG here. And we are going to be getting into the new Underdog contests. If you guys are new here, make sure y'all hit the sub button. Without further ado, let's get into the new contest. All right, guys, what is going on? KG here. And I'm going to go ahead and get this ready real quick. Like I said before, if you guys are new here, make sure y'all smash that sub button. It is free to do. It helps me get out there as well. So also make sure you guys hit this like button as well. Helps me, like I said, get the stream out there to help you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we have the new Gauntlet out for the 2023 playoffs. $25 entry, pretty hefty entry fee to start. Playoff only contest. Pretty interesting how last year there was a 157 person field in the finals. This year we're looking at about 440, I want to say it is. It's 400, I think maybe. Might be 400. I'm not sure. We're going to look into it, see what's going on. I've already drafted a few teams as far as this goes. It's fun. We're going to talk strategy. We're going to talk kind of what I'm looking to do, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's kind of the overall stream vibes today. Tomorrow, I plan on having a best ball video out as well. So if you haven't already, I have not reviewed my best ball portfolio whatsoever this year on the YouTube channel. So if you guys haven't already, there is a website out that shows all the best ball stuff. And if you're playing best ball, you kind of already know about it. So that's kind of the thing that I'm looking at as well. You can see it. It's all public out there. So I won't be lying about anything. We will be using the website quite a bit to start looking into some in-depth things. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. I'm making a Twitter post real quick. All right. I got to put a link in. Let me get the link to the stream real fast here, fellas, and we will get started on the review. I know you guys can kind of see the rules here as well. So give me just a minute here as I'm kind of navigating YouTube real quick. I did not get to make a post before I started this stream, so I do want to make sure that it does get out there for the people as well on my Twitter feed, as a lot of them are on my Twitter feed as it stands. So I want to make sure it gets out there. I want to make sure that I also have a thumbnail on this, which I don't. Interesting. It should have put a thumbnail on this. I am so sorry for the delay. We will get into this, I promise. Fast forward just a few minutes into the video. I promise we will get into it. Because I'm very, very, very excited for this. Will I be maxing? No, not even coming close to maxing, to be honest. Will I dabble? Yes, I obviously will dabble. They say they have more contests coming in this format, so I will be waiting for those, the cheaper entries. Those I might max. But as far as this one's concerned, I probably won't be maxing this one. The prizes are pretty big, though, so that is a good thing. If you do plan to max it, if you do have the bankroll to max it, be my guest. I personally don't. So, yeah, we're kind of going with it, seeing what's up. Yeah, so we're going to discuss it a little bit strategy-wise as far as what my plan is, how I plan to attack this, kind of where I'm at with it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it at the moment for this stream. I'm kind of sharing this in some Discords as well. Give me just a second here. All right, I'm sharing a link. Give me just a moment here, guys. I do apologize. I'm trying to make sure that I have everything ready to go on this, so I don't have to look at it again. So I have it shared out to anybody and everybody that wants it. So, okay. Anywho, so, all right, let's go ahead and get in, look at this, see what's going on here. All right. General information. Entrants select players through a snake draft, which is typical. Teams are made up of 10 total players with 5 starting players on each roster. Makes sense. Entrants compete in groups. Groups of 6 is what the groups are. I do know that. And also on top of this, which is also really good, 2 of the 6 from the first round will advance. So you only have to place top 2 in your group. Last year, I believe it was top 1. I didn't get to play last year. This is still kind of my coming out year as far as best ball goes. I didn't get a chance to play this contest last year, so I'm kind of anxious to see. I've been listening and reading kind of what the strategies were of people last year. So it's kind of interesting to me to see kind of where it is at the current moment. We're looking at the end of round 1. 2 performing entries in each group will advance to round 2 and be awarded a prize, which we'll look at the prize pool here in a second. At the end of round 2, top 2 as well advance. So you can place top 2 in the first 2 rounds, so the wild card and the divisional, and make it through to the next round. So you can make it to round 3, placing second both times, which is, I like that because the advance rate becomes a little bit easier to advance. Obviously, it becomes a little bit more top heavy as the top becomes closer. As you can see, round 3 will consist of 408 person groups. That's you get 2 there, and you're in the 6-person group. So you increase the group size in round 2. That's kind of what I would expect in this format. At the end of round 3, the top 1 will move on. Round 4 will consist of 400 entries in one single 400-person group. Wait, hold on. That's interesting. So, top 1 performing entry from each group, in the entries in 408-person groups. Okay, so this will be an 8-person group, and then you have to place first in that group. At the end of round 4, the top 1 performing entry will be the grand prize winner, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so prizes. It looks like if you can make it past the first 2 rounds, which would be how many players again? 3,200. So it'll be 3,200 players. So the top 3,200 make $50. So they double their entry. So if you opt, this isn't the very optimal way to play, in my opinion. But if you're playing for the wild card divisional and you don't want to play, necessarily for your Eagles stacks, your Niners stacks, your Kansas City stacks, your, those kinds of stacks, you could play for the Lions stacks. You could play for the Jags stacks. You could play for those kinds of stacks and optimally make, double your money on the entries. I'm personally not looking to do that. If I'm playing a contest this big, I'm looking to win. I'm not looking to just cash out. If you're looking to cash out, you're in the wrong business in as far as this goes. This is definitely not for you. Just my 2 cents. If you're looking to just cash and keep the money going, stick to pick'ems, stick to the double up entries, stick to that kind of field. This is not the field for that at all. This is the field where you go big or go home. So this is kind of where my stance is on it so far. Obviously, you can max at 150 entries. So to max this, it would cost the equivalent of Best Ball Mania. Like I said, personally, myself, I'm not even going to come close. I have put in a few entries just to shoot my shots. And I will be doing one on stream. I definitely do not plan on maxing this or even coming close to maxing this, like I said. So it's kind of where I stand right now. Ties, obviously, if there's a tie, ties that take place in advancement rounds will be broken by whichever team has the highest scoring player in that round. If interests have the same highest scoring player or a player with equivalent high scores, then it would go to the second highest scoring player. Okay, so that's typical. They keep going down the list until they find your highest scoring player. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Round advancements, we kind of already read over that. Multiple entries, we've already read that as well. There's not going to be any edits or anything like that. Collusion, we don't really need to read any of this. This is all standard stuff from the typical format perspective. Scoring wise, I think it's the same scoring as they always do. Underdog uses official league statistics. Yeah, okay. So it's the same scoring system as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. That's the contest as a whole. That's kind of what it is. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. Moving on. So we're going to kind of look at this as a general whole. Like I said, there's only 1,000 entries so far into it. 67,200 entries are getting into this contest. 22,400 entries. So if we calculate this, just getting out of the first round, I do want to do the math on this. So we have 22,400 entries that make it out of the first round. This is my assumptions. I didn't read this, but you have a 33% chance of cashing your lineups for every entry that you put in. That's not bad. That's about what Dog Bowl was. Dog Bowl was about 38, 39%. So I think this is a pretty solid number to be at as far as this goes. I know last year the winner made 200 grand instead of 150, but they have spread out the prize pool quite a bit more. So that's kind of nice in that regard. But yeah, I kind of like I like the contest quite a bit. We're going to kind of move to strategy here and kind of talk about, what I've done in a few of these already. Like I said, I've only done 4, and one of them I lost connection and it looks horrible. So I'm not even going to preview that one. However, we are going to preview the ones that I did build out with strategy. I want to view the full board. I want to show you guys kind of what went down, what I'm doing, and kind of how I'm building my roster construction. So we got in a draft with Raleigh Durham. I know him. Chess Liam, know him. I've also been in drafts with Cutler before. I don't recognize the guy in last, and I don't recognize Raise It 77. But I recognize a lot of these drafters. They're sharp drafters. They know what they're doing. So that's kind of an advantage in this, I think, to get in a room of people that know what they're doing, because nobody's really going to overstep anybody. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. A lot of people are going to be building stacks, as you can see. We'll kind of go through this board. We'll break it down. As you can see, this Cutler has started the 49er stack. He didn't get Brock Purdy because Chess Liam got him early and got him with Kittle. So that's kind of nice to see as far as this goes. A lot of my strategy right now is get 5 guys from the team that I think will be in the Super Bowl. If you can get it. If you can't, pivot off of it, get 4 guys from the Super Bowl, and get somebody on the other side of the Super Bowl that you think can get there. So, for example, this draft here, I started off with Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift. I'm making a strong stance that the Eagles are going to make it to the Super Bowl. At the very least, they're going to make it to the conference championship, which, honestly, if they don't, okay, this draft's not winning. And I also have Dallas Goedert. So I have this whole entire Eagles offense except A.J. Brown. So that's and I even have Quez Watkins. So I'm trying to separate myself here a little bit from the field as far as advance rate goes. You got to play this contest from the Super Bowl down. So I got my Super Bowl covered. Okay. Now we need to build a team that I think can make it to the conference championship. In the AFC, it's been the Chiefs. I think the Ravens have a very good chance at making the conference championship. Hence the reasoning why I did go ahead and build out all these Ravens pieces. I have Zay Flowers, Keaton Mitchell, Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, and then I also have Kadarius Toney. Now, the reason why I went ahead and took a flyer on Toney is because he's probably more than likely going to be on the other side of this Baltimore game. If I had to put a guess on it, he has to be on the other side of that game. And on top of all this, Baltimore's probably not getting the bye. Honestly, they're probably not going to be getting the bye. That's just my opinion. If we look at the NFL playoff picture right now, just look at this real quick, because I know that there is a lot of things here that we can look at. Obviously, I'm just Googling it, but there are places and references that we can look at that kind of show what we're looking at here. So the Baltimore Ravens are 9-3, first place. I think the Dolphins end up getting the bye. Their schedule rest of season seems a little bit better than the Ravens does. It's not by much, though. The Chiefs obviously have a pretty good shot at getting there. If they don't, if both teams end up playing in the first round, that's good for me. Obviously, the wild card picture, we'll see what happens here. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. I'm not really too sure. I do want to talk to some other people about the format before I kind of dive into this super goal brain ideas that I have of what we can and can't do. So that's kind of where I'm at with this right now, is I'm wanting to get two teams that are going to play one team that's going to play most rounds that I think can make it to the conference championship. And then I push on to getting another team that I think is going to be in the Super Bowl. Now, if they're in the same conference, for example, that's probably even better for me. I think that you can make a stand on a conference here and say, okay, I want 4 guys from this team, 4 guys from this team, and 2 or 3 guys on the other division, other conference. So let's say we have 8 AFC players and 2 NFCs. The 2 NFCs better be correlated in a way to where they're on the same team and they have a chance to make the Super Bowl, because that is the only way I'm going to want them. Now, another way you could do it is you could correlate those NFC guys to make it to the conference championship from the wild card round. So, for example, the Lions, their chances to make the conference championship aren't very good. So, the NFC is a tough bloodbath this year. It really is. It's a tough place, because you got to get through the 76ers. Wow. The 49ers, and you got to get through the Eagles in some way, shape, or form. One of those 2 teams has to get beat if you want to do any other team. And that's why I'm just have those 2 guys bring you home on the other side in the NFC, and they maybe make a Super Bowl on the other side of on the other side of like a Chiefs or Ravens. You could do that. Theoretically speaking, I would rather stack Eagles or I'd rather stack the Eagles or the Niners, and then I would rather take a shot on the AFC team. That's kind of where I'm at with the strategy right now. As you can see, like I said, Baltimore Ravens there. We'll go back and look at another one of my draft rooms as well. Like I said, my sample size is pretty small as it stands. We'll go to this room here. So this is a 49ers team where I went through and I said, all right, I wanted to make sure I got 3 different teams. We went and got the Lions. The Lions are kind of tough because I don't think that they can make it out of the NFC, but there was already a Dallas team kind of going. So I didn't really get much Dallas going here. That's what kind of sucks about that, but it is what it is. So I went ahead and did Lions the next best. And I got Laporta, Jameer, Goff as kind of a stack there. Now, I also went ahead and said, all right, who do I think can make the AFC championship? Obviously, Kansas City, I took the stand there that Kansas City could make the Super Bowl and play the 49ers. We have Purdy, Kelsey, Ayuk, Kittle. So we got the 3 there. We also got some Niners and Jerick McKinnon. We got Elijah Mitchell to pivot off of those Christian McCaffrey 101s. I have a feeling I'm going to be taking Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason a little bit in these in case something happens to McCaffrey. Because if something does happen to McCaffrey, these guys could potentially be volume winners in the best ball format here as far as postseason goes, because they're not just going to totally give up the run game. And these guys could be winners as far as getting them towards the end of the drafts. I really wanted to get Jawan Jennings. This guy decided to go ahead and take Jawan Jennings. It is what it is. So we went ahead and took Ronnie Bell at the end of this draft. I don't think the Niners are going to get the bye. I still think the Eagles are going to win out. But obviously that loss is going to be looming over their head for quite some time. So we'll see. That's kind of where I'm at right now with the strategy. 4-2s. 4-4-2s is kind of what I'm looking at. If you want to get super extreme, 5-5, you could do it. I'm not a huge fan of it because the 5 that you're going to be able to get based off rankings is going to be, a Niners team, and like maybe you could get the you can't even get the Dolphins team. So like you could get a Niners team, and maybe you can talk yourself into getting, a Dallas team potentially without Lamb. You could do that. I'm not doing that. You could sit here and say, okay, first 2 picks, I'm going to go ahead and take Dak. I'm going to take Mahomes, and we're going to go from there. That is one thing you could do. I'm going to take Mahomes. I'm going to take Dak, and we're going to ride. I don't like doing that. I really wouldn't suggest doing that. It's going to be hard to get Mahomes and Dak on the same team. Plus, you're literally just taking the stand of those two. And if one of them doesn't make it, then you literally have nothing to represent the other side. So I'm not personally doing that. Personally, like I said, what I'm doing is I'm taking 5 guys from the team that I think goes to the Super Bowl, 4 guys to the other side that I think can make the conference, and then 1 guy that's probably going to be in the wild card or something to that effect to where I can get some points on the board, like a stud. For example, a stud that I'd consider taking. If you scroll down here, Justin Jefferson would be one I'd consider. A Packers wide receiver I would consider. Jacksonville receiver I would consider. Guys like that. Detroit, maybe a Detroit wide receiver I would consider. Bijan I would consider. It's about the only one from the Falcons I would even touch. Those kinds of guys. Maybe you're a Seattle guy and you like DK Metcalf. Those are the kinds of guys that I would be looking at that I can afford to be zeros if they get beat out in the first round. So that's kind of the strategy I'm looking to do. We're going to hop in 1 here just to get into 1. I'm not playing BR this week at all. I'm sticking to my pick'ems this week. I got to get the bankroll back up. So we do fill a lobby relatively quickly here. Let's see what pick we get. We get the 103. That's probably one of the worst picks you could possibly get. So far, from what I've seen, you kind of want to be back here or you want to be number 1 and get McCaffrey. That's kind of where I've seen the most success at. I'm not a huge fan of 2 because I'm not a huge fan of taking Tyreek. Tyreek's talent level is so good, but I don't know that he can make it out of the path that Miami has is so tough because the Ravens match up well with them and so do the Chiefs. And it's just extremely tough to see them making it past both those teams. That's kind of where I stand. I am not a huge fan of it at all. I personally don't want to do it. I just don't. I'm not willing to make the stand to do it. So that's where I'm at with it right now. I'm not a huge fan of it. Not a huge fan. All right. McCaffrey goes off the board here. I'm assuming it's been Tyreek most of the day. I'm if Tyreek falls, okay. So I don't got to worry about it. I was going to say if Tyreek falls, I'll build it out, but I'm not willing to build it out to the extent of going insane. So this pick, I'm definitely going to be building out the Eagles team. I really want to make the stance that I think the Eagles are going to make the conference championship. I like them a lot to make the conference championship. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Maybe it works for me, maybe it doesn't. CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown going off the board. CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown going off the board. That's interesting. I'm kind of interested by that portion of it. That seems to be really early for CeeDee Lamb. I think Kelsey's ADP is really high, just considering that we are pairing receivers with this. Now, this is where we could get really unique. I don't think we're going to be able to do it, though. We can say, all right, we want the NFC locked in, and we could go get Brock Purdy here and not have any issues here. We could have both quarterbacks potentially, which would be big, but we could only play one quarterback. So I'm going to maybe take the stance here that one of these guys makes it to the Super Bowl, and we could go with it, or we could go with Devontae Smith and stack it up. I think we're going to go with this theory, though, of two quarterbacks making it. One of them is going to be on a bye, obviously. The other one's not. And we're going to see how this works out for us. I want to see this. This is just a different approach to a portfolio. That's all this is. Obviously, both of them are not going to make it to the Super Bowl, but these two are both Super Bowl favorites, and we want to give ourselves the best chance possible with the weapons we have. If we need to get the lower tier weapons on the teams, we can. That's okay. That's totally fine. If we get Devontae Smith here, I'd call this a success. If not, we can get Pacheco. I'm not really looking to get Pacheco, maybe Swift. We want to build up this Eagles and Niners theme the best we can. I want to make sure that we get the conference championship correct. I think that's the key to everything, is getting the conference championship correct with your high volume players and then your low volume guys. We can build off there. Okay, so we get Devontae Smith. That's kind of big for us. I think we can go ahead and look at the 49ers. Again, we missed out on Kittle. Those three pieces went right there. Swift goes. That kind of sucks. Now that we have these pieces here, we need to start building out the wild card on the AFC side, or we need to start looking at the AFC side and really evaluating what we can get on the AFC side. Pacheco would be a good place to be, I believe. So would Devon Achane. I think both those guys are good places to be. Pacheco goes, obviously. Amon-Ra might not be a bad play, obviously. Like, this guy goes after him. I don't think he'd be a terrible play. It is what it is. We got both quarterbacks that we want. I definitely want to make sure that position is carrying me to the promised land in this. I still think that's the most important position. I think we can go Raheem Mostert here and be okay. We also could go Gus Edwards and say the Baltimore Ravens side of things, which I really like. Not a lot of people are drafting Bills right now. I think what we're going to do is go with the KC side. No, we are going to go with the Ravens side of things. We're going to get Gus Edwards here. I think we can stack up the Ravens on the AFC side and make this work. Like I said, we're looking to get as many pieces as possible to the promised land. And if that means we have to get, Ravens pieces, that means we have to get Ravens pieces. We have to have at least 3 pieces from the team that we think will win, right? We already have 2 from Philly. We probably will get, Kenneth Gainwell is a guy that I want to put on my queue. We will probably get Quez Watkins on my queue. If we have to, we'll be looking at guys like that. Jawan Jennings is a guy that I'm looking at. These are guys late in the draft that you need to be looking at to scroll the heck down and get, because they're not going to be there forever. Raheem Mostert, Etienne Waddle goes. So we've already started this Ravens thing. I want to make sure that we continue this Ravens thing and we go OBJ here. I want to make sure that we continue on with that, get that side of the ball as well. We're betting on 2 to 3 teams is basically what my goal is we're betting on 2 to 3 teams to get me to the promised land. That's what we're doing. If it works out for me, awesome. If not, well, you know the rest. All right. So Jacksonville, this could be the one-off that we get in the wild card. Jacksonville could be a really good one to get. Dallas, once again, not a bad one, but I'm not taking them. That's not the build that we have. I think we need to continue to build Philly next round. Same with the Niners. I think this is where we can go take a one-off here and say, you know what? We need somebody in the wild card. I really like Jacksonville there. I also really like Justin Jefferson in that spot, but we're going to go Calvin Ridley here. Like I said, the goal right now, we have 3 remaining players that we can get. 2, 3, we have 6 players. So we have 4 remaining players. My bad. 4 remaining players that we can get. Gainwell's going to be one. Elijah Mitchell needs to be on this list as well. Let's see. Julio. Quez needs to be on this list. All right. So we got our queue set up. Obviously, we have 5 guys. This is where we look at what we have and we say, okay, let's make our stand here. We need a 49ers player. We need one, whether it be a receiver, whether it be, whatever. So we're going to go ahead and make our stands here and go ahead and get Kenneth Gainwell. I want to make sure that we get an Eagles running back. That's what I want to make sure that we get. So now we have Eagles in quarterback, running back, receiver. We have Ravens on the other side, thinking that the Ravens make it on the other side. So we do have, theoretically speaking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have 5 positions here. We need a receiver from Baltimore. Can we get a Baltimore receiver? We can. We have Andrews available. I don't see how Andrews plays, so I'm kind of hesitant to take that. Bateman goes off the board. I think we could look at maybe likely went off the board. There's not very many Ravens left. That's what sucks. Mark Andrews is like the only one left other than Justice Hill. Duvernay hasn't played. Nelson Aguilar. That would be somebody that I'm willing to take a risk on as a flyer. And now that we have that, we now have a potential Philly Ravens Super Bowl that we could see. And if it works out for us, great. If not, well, you at least may be able to make it there based off of these guys' play. You might be able to make it there. Keaton Mitchell, I don't know if he was still there. I don't think he was. He was long gone. Okay. So he was long gone there. So now we need to look at this team and say, okay, running back wise, we could get Elijah Mitchell, pivot off of Christian McCaffrey. I do like that play. I also really like the Jawan Jennings play. Because Jawan Jennings actually does get a look every now and then. So we get that kind of a look in Quez Watkins as our last 2 picks. I like that quite a bit because we're making the stand that Philly's probably going to make the Super Bowl. I think that's kind of where we're at. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, and then 4 guys from Philly. And then we're hoping that the Ravens can make it to where we get 6 guys and we can roster a full roster is kind of what we're looking to do in my eyes. And then we have the one off of Calvin Ridley, who should be playing, wild card. Jawan Jennings, we'll go ahead and take. Actually, we're going to go ahead and take Bijan here. I think Bijan's a really good pick in this just because wild card stipulations. We're going to go ahead and take him. Because I really like Bijan in this format too, because the first round is going to be, we're going to need some guys to score the ball. And that's going to be Bijan Robinson. So it's kind of where I'm at with that. We need to win there. Mark Andrews goes off the board. If we, the key part is going to be getting out of week 1. If we can get teams out of week 1, we'll be powerhouses. We have 2 one-offs here. So if it's just the Eagles getting in, we have 1, 2, 3 pieces. We need 4. We need at least 4. I want Quez. So we're going to go Quez Watkins there and get our 5th guy or 4th guy. So we have our pieces here. I like this team the way it ended. I wish we would have gotten one more Raven, but it is what it is. This is kind of the format that we're looking to build. This is kind of what we're looking to do. This is the strategy that we have going into it. It is what it is. So we're going to open up the board here, kind of look at everybody's picks. As you can see, Justin Jefferson goes dead last. It's definitely a different type of format. As you can see, Mahomes, Kelsey, Pacheco, Rice, Kadarius Toney, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. So he does have the 5 guys. He also has Jarrett McKinnon, so he has 6 guys actually. Goff, Laporta, Gibbs. He did build a 6-3 or 6-4 build actually. So he was concentrated on the AFC, AFC and the NFC. This is what I'm saying. You could go this route. I don't think Detroit makes it that far. This is not what I'm looking to do. I don't think this is very optimal, but it could be. You never know. Lamar Jackson, A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift. So he was kind of taken away from my Eagles a little bit. Dallas Goedert. Yeah, he took away a lot of my Eagles. He said, I'm not going to have a quarterback going in, so why would I even do it? I don't know why he built this way, but that's not the way I would build. Dak, CD, Pollard, Achane, Diggs, Allen, Cook. So he took 3 quarterbacks. That's interesting. I don't like this team at all because you have 3, 3, 1, 3. I don't love this team at all. Obviously my team, we've seen it. Reek, Tua, Kittle, Waddle. So he's got the Dolphins. He's making the bet on the Dolphins. Mostert, Cooks, Ferguson, Aaron Jones, Jaden Reed. Okay. All right. So not bad looks, team. Let's go look at the rules one more time here. I do want to make sure that I personally am looking at this correctly. I want to make sure that we're seeing this, what we need to see. A wild card round, the divisional round. Obviously, there's going to be 2 teams that get the buys in the wild card round. Let's go ahead and look here real quick. I want to make sure that I am looking at this correct. Where's my percentages at here? Here we go. I don't really need the explain part, but all right. So we have the 2-7, 3-6, 4-5, 3. Okay, so this is the wild card, divisional, conference. Yeah, okay. So wild card, we're looking at the 2 and the 7. So right now, the 2 and the 7, this is kind of what the bracket looks like right now. Chiefs, obviously, have the bye. Dolphins, Bills, Bengals. Okay, this is last year's. This is last year's playoff bracket. So, let's see. This is not what I want. I want the NFL playoff picture for 2024. All right. Maybe they'll have an actual playoff bracket here. Okay. This is not really what I want either, but maybe they have it here. This is just me kind of getting on a wild goose chase trying to figure this out of where everything is. Okay. So this is what we have right now. The 1 and the 2 are getting buys. So right now the Chiefs aren't even getting a bye, which is kind of crazy to think about. The Jags aren't getting a bye. The Steelers and the Colts are in the playoff hunt with the Browns as well. On the bubble, these are the teams that are on the bubble. I'm not big on drafting the Bills. They still have a chance, and I understand that. I just don't think they have a great chance at all. Rams, Seahawks, Bucks. I'm not a big fan of any of these teams. I mean, obviously the Saints could beat out the Falcons for this 4th seed. Now the 4 seed does play the 5 seed. So as far as that goes, if we're looking at this bracket now, the 4 seed does end up 2-7. Hold on. Let's look at. This is terrible. Okay, anyways. Let's just look at it this way. Okay. So, wild card 2-7. Here's your buys, 1 and 2s. 1, 2, 2-7, 3-6. I don't know where 4 and 5 are, but 4 and 5 are somewhere. Anyways. Goodness gracious. I am drawing a total blank right now of what the heck I'm trying to say. Here we go. Okay. I'm being stupid. Anyways, 3-6, 5 and 4. All right. So then we have the Eagles, Vikings there. Obviously, they're not there, but this is just for the bracket portion of this. We're going to be looking at a 4 seed here and a 5 seed here with Dak and the Cowboys versus the Falcons. They're going to probably dust them. The 2 seed, then it'll be the Niners and Cowboys, I would say. Let's see if there's a 2024. Let's see if there is. Okay. I want to see if this will work, because if it does, then we can at least make it, at least. Okay, this works. Okay. So this is the AFC side. As of right now, let's just say the playoffs were today. We would have the Steelers, which is just flat out disgusting, as the 5 seed. No, yeah, the Steelers is the 5 seed. We would have 4 seed be the Jaguars, which I don't think they'd have any trouble with the Steelers whatsoever. The 6 seed we would have as the Colts. And then the 3 seed we would have as the Chiefs, which, once again, I don't think the Chiefs would have any problems beating this team at all. So let's just move the Chiefs on. Oh, wait, crap. The 2 seed right now, as it stands, is the Ravens and the Dolphins. So this is kind of the exercise that we're going to have to go through as a collective whole and say, okay, is this how we want to play this? Who wins each game? Yada, yada, yada. Obviously, a lot can change based on where we're at right this very moment in time. There's a lot that can change. This Vikings-Lions game, I'm not going to put it past the Vikings to win this game. And I'm not going to put it past the 49ers to be up here. Right now, the Eagles and Cowboys, we see a game with them this week. That's going to be an interesting game. My eyes are going to be all over this game. So I could see some interesting things happening here. I think there's quite a bit of different things that could happen. So, with that being said, right now, I think the Jags would move on here. I think this Jags-Dolphins game would be pretty good, assuming Trevor Lawrence is back on the field, but I still think the Dolphins move on. Chiefs, Colts, I have the Chiefs moving on. Chiefs, Ravens, this is going to be a really good game. I don't know who could possibly win this. I still think the Chiefs prevail, but the Chiefs definitely are not as good as we're making them out to be. I think the Dolphins have a good shot this year. I think this is the year if they're going to do it. This is the year they need to do it. The Bills, if they happen to squeak in here as a 6 seed, that's when things get really, really interesting. Because if we look at this from that perspective, they squeeze in as a 6 seed here. That would be insane. That would actually be nuts. So I'm a little nervous in that regard that if they happen to sneak in, we're looking at a team that plays the Chiefs first and could knock out all these Chiefs teams that people build in the first round. I think they could definitely beat the Chiefs if they are on the roll that I know that they can get on. So it gets a little tough. That's kind of where my mind is right now. It's a very interesting contest. Like I said, I'm not maxing this one, but I do enjoy talking about it and kind of giving my opinion on it. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure y'all leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.